One interesting set of scenarios is some work that was recently done by a group in the United States that was looking at different carbon tax alternatives. So what we want to do is to try and perhaps put something in place that would reduce the impact of man on the climate by reducing the amount of carbon that we put into the atmosphere. And there are a couple of options for that. One of the options is to tax fossil fuels only, so gasoline, natural gas, and things like that. One would be to tax carbon that comes from all sources. So if you cut down a forest and that releases a lot of the carbon to the atmosphere, you'd also put a tax on that. So it's interesting to think about how that would influence the future of biodiversity. And what's interesting is if you put a tax on only fossil fuels, so just gasoline and natural gas and coal, then that actually tends to push the economy towards using biofuels, much more strongly using biofuels. And if you push that idea far into the future, basically it means you cut down most of the forests of the world and you replace them with biofuel plantations. On the other hand, if you put a tax on all sources of carbon, including carbon that comes from forests, it does exactly the opposite. And that would be great. Actually, in those scenarios, actually you increase the amount of forest globally over the next 50 years or so. So really two extremes that related to a fairly simple economic mechanism that is actually under discussion.